This episode is brought to you by Hulu One. Binge on full seasons and watch your favorite shows like Lost, Star Trek The Next Generation, The X-Files, and one of my favorites, The Twilight Zone. Right now, Star Talk listeners can get an extended free trial of Hulu Plus by going to huluplus.com/StarTalk. That's huluplus.com/StarTalk.
Our universe is filled with secrets and mysteries, leaving us with many questions to be answered. We find ourselves searching for those answers as the very fabric of space, science, and society are converging. Here, for the first time, these worlds collide.
Oh, what are you saying?
All you Trekkies and TV addicts, don't mean to this, don't mean to bring static. All you Klingons in your grandma's house, grab your backstreet friend, they get loud.
Say, Doc, what's the condition? I'm a man that's on a mission, like a scientist. When I'm applying this,
Check it out. What's it all about?
now get busy.
Isn't it funny sometimes how we find ourselves for living like the way we said we never be? And now you're here, just standing on your own two feet.
Welcome to Star Talk Radio. My name is David Grinspoon. I'm an astrobiologist and a planetary scientist, and I'm here with my co-host, Chuck Nice.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Chuck?
Great, man. So I'm happy to see you.
Yeah.
But I'm also curious as to where Mr. Tyson, Dr. Tyson, is.
Oh, I'm busted. Now people know I'm not Neil Tyson. I am sitting in for Neil Tyson, and we're left here to carry on without him as best we can. And so we will be today doing cosmic queries,
Yes.
answering your questions. And what's the topic today?
Okay, so today, of course, we call all of our resources and Facebook and Twitter and all of the various outlets where we appear on the internet. And today we have questions about human impact on our very own planet Earth. Which
Oh,
is
yeah. Earth
something-
is a planet. And therefore, it's part of space, and so it belongs to Star Talk, right?
It certainly does, and there's a lot of things in space that have a big effect on Earth, And so what we have done is we've got all these questions here. You have not seen them.
I've not seen the questions.
And I understand that even though you are an astrobiologist, that this is also something that you are a subject expert, would that be?
Well, it's something I've been studying a lot recently. I mean, as a planetary scientist, I've always been interested in Earth. That's a lot of what we learn when we study planetary science, is how to think about planets. So you learn about volcanism, earthquakes, all the things that make Earth tick, the climate and so forth. But we usually apply them to other planets. But what I've been doing recently is saying, well, let's take the techniques of planetary science and think about Earth as a planet, and even think about humanity and the human impact as an event on the planet. What are humans doing to the planet, and how, if we're thinking as planetary scientists, how would that look, the way humans are changing the planet? So that is what I've been working on recently, and I think it's definitely a topic for space science. How does that space perspective influence the way we look back at our own planet? What can we learn about our planet from that space perspective?
I'm going to say that what we can learn is that we as human beings suck when it comes. I got a feeling Earth looks at us like we suck. I'm just sorry. That's pretty much how I.
Well, we got about to answer for. I mean, we've become a major geological force on this planet, and some of what we're doing is a little bit more, like you compare us to things in the past, and you look at the asteroid that came and wiped out 90% of the species, and right now we're that asteroid. We're causing a mass extinction. We're changing the climate in radical ways, and it's not like we planned to do this. Nobody said, hey, this is a good idea. We're just sort of stumbling into this role. So now a lot of people are saying, well, let's look at this role and figure out, what do we want to be on this planet? So I think we're in this moment of realization of what our role is.
Let's hope. I think you're a bit more optimistic than perhaps I am. I'm a bit more of a cynic, but let's see what our listeners have to say in the form of the questions that they have for you. Our first one is from Caleb Bugby. What a great name. Huntsville, Alabama. We're talking about human impacts on Earth in one of my classes. We have been debating which human activity will lead to the collapse of society as we know it. We have discussed energy consumption, overpopulation, destruction by technology, vis-a-vis robots, destruction by nuclear terrorism, pandemics, and finally water pollution. If you could pick one destructive human force, which one would it be? What a happy question!
We got quite the menu there.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that question. I mean, it's a good question, and I would have to say your question does presuppose a certain pessimism, like which one is going to destroy us. It doesn't leave us the option that maybe none of them will. Nonetheless, the first thing I would say is those are all conflated because it's what we call a wicked problem, where you can't really separate things out. Population is ultimately related to all those things.
Correct.
If we weren't, pushing 9 billion people come mid-century, then almost none of those other problems of the human footprint would be
really significant.
as big a deal.
Right.
But I think
Not to mention traffic, because she says like pandemics, which
Absolutely.
honestly that wouldn't happen if we weren't traveling all around to and fro the way we do.
Yeah, I mean, those are all related problems. I would say, out of all of those, the most immediate one is you got to go to climate change because that is one that we know is happening now. It's accelerating, and we don't have a clear path to solve it. We have some good ideas and a lot of good intentions, and I don't see that as hopeless. But out of all those other ones, like, robots taking over, maybe, that could be scary in the future. Right now, it's not the thing that keeps me up at night.
So we don't have to fear Cyberdyne systems quite yet, huh?
Not quite yet. I mean, I think it's smart to be aware that our world will change rapidly as computers get smarter, and some of those changes might not be completely to our liking. It's,
Right.
It's good to have that on our radar. But let's face it, climate change is happening right now. We don't all agree completely about the extent of it, but most scientifically literate people now recognize that it is happening and that there is a large degree of implication of humans, and that if we're not going to be the stupid species that soils its nest
Right.
and dies, or at least destroys its civilization,
Right.
then we ought to really be applying our intellect to dealing with that now.
Well, there you go, Kaylin. There's your answer. 1, don't poop where you eat. And 2, we're looking forward to nuclear terroristic robots that cause climate change. That is the biggest fear that we should have. No, that's great. Okay, climate change, that makes a lot of sense. All right, let's move on. So the next one from Tommy Maines from St. Charles, Missouri. I'm reading Kevin Kelly's What Technology Wants. One hypothesis in the book is that technology was inevitable from the point of the Big Bang. Do you find this to be true? If so, can we now harness technology to heal our